Sadhana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanscha.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you ready, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, I am ready, Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today being Wednesday, we are very fortunate to have the association of His Grace Rukmini Rangakrishna Prabhu. Prabhuji will be sharing the nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamritha, chapter number 61, titled 108 Rosebushes. Prabhuji, over to you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. First of all, welcome all of you for this Wednesday morning, March 15th, for the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And I like to thank the Nityam Bhagavata's team led by Sankarshan Priya Prabhu. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about Srila Prabhupada's Lilamritha and chapter 61. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shem Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Desadarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurange Radhe Vindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Kirim Yatkripa Tamakam Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Thank you again, and I seek the blessings and prayers of all those who are attending this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya today. Okay, so this is Srila Prabhupada Lilamritha, chapter 61. The title is 108 Rosebushes. This incident happened in 1968 in the month of October in Los Angeles. So devotees were wanted to have a center in Los Angeles. So they were looking for the place in Hollywood Boulevard. This Hollywood Boulevard, as most of us know, it's a tourist spot and very famous in Los Angeles. So devotees could find one place, and it was actually earlier it was a beauty parlor, and it was a two-story building, and about 40 devotees were staying in that, and they were living there, and they also having Jagannath deities with them, and they were cooking. So when they're cooking, we know that it has got a spicy aroma smell and all. And the air-conditioned room in the whole building, there are other tenants are also living in that building. And the air conditioning sucks that aroma and then sends to the other places. Because of that, what has happened, the tenants started complaining that these tenants are creating problems for us to live. And with that situation, the landlord gave an eviction notice to the devotees saying that this is creating a lot of problem. It's better you vacate. And the landlord also said, okay, I can give you $450 if you vacate today itself. Then the devotees had no other choice but to vacate the place. So women, children, elderly people, and the deities their furnitures, their other belongings, with everything, they all came to the outside the building. They were on the sidewalk. So they were staying for many hours in that place. And somehow some devotees could find a warehouse for keeping their furnitures. And after some time, some devotee, one English lady said, okay, some devotees can come and stay with me in my house. And some brahmacharis could find a place. Like that, some other devotees went and found a place for them to stay. So they were all scattered. And they could locate an apartment, small apartment, where Prabhupada could stay along with the deities. So the Los Angeles temple was scattered. The sense all the devotees were scattered and they have no place to stay as a together in one place. And yeah, one day one devotee by name Nandarani, she was saying in this local, there is a center, community center. There they are talking of Hollywood Vegetarian Society. So she went and asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, there is a Hollywood Vegetarian Society. Do you like to come and speak in that center? Prabhupada said, I have nothing to speak anything about vegetarian. Please find out whether they're interested in Bhagavad Gita. If they're interested in Bhagavad Gita, I know something, I can speak about that. Then this Nandarani went and checked with that particular society and that organization where they're talking of Hollywood Vegetarian Society, but they were not inclined to listen anything about Bhagavad Gita. So she came back and reported back to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I'm not interested in this lecturing in a mundane subject in a place. I'm only interested in Krishna Katha. Like that, he refused to speak in that place. Then like this, they were all trying to do some, whatever services possible they were doing. Days were passed, weeks were passed, and Prabhupada was sitting in the room with the deities. And one day he called the people, we need to meet and want some common place. In that situation, Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he met a lady, and that lady said, okay, you can use my garage for your meeting. And in that, it's a small garage. And all evening, all the devotees would come and meet in that place. Prabhupada also used to come and give us lecture in that place. Like that was going on. And after some time, Prabhupada was not very happy, and he was becoming restless and intolerant. Because then he called the people saying that, what are you doing to find a temple? What is happening going on? How long you want me to sit in this place where it's excluded, away from the deities, away from the devotees and all. So he was little upset, and he was little heavy on those devotees to find a suitable place. He said, deities have to be kept in a place, they have to be worshipped. Please go and find out a place as early as possible. Then he also said, before that, there was one small thing which we need to, Prabhupada was also mentioning, so not to discourage the people. Before this it has happened, I was just skipping that point. He was telling that, yes, let us not worry. That initial days he was saying, never mind, we have no place, we have no temple. Krishna provided this garage, so we accept it. And he said in India, even though there is a small place, 20 people will come, keep all their luggages in that small room. And they will come to the room, whatever they want, they'll take it, and they go outside in the daytime. The nighttime, they come and sleep on the roadside. So that way in India, they used to live, but in America, it is not possible. This incident has happened before this, when he became upset. Then he said, yes, you have to find a place because it is very much needed. Then he was using the same word. How long do you expect me to sit in this house? What are you doing? What have you done to find a temple? I want a temple. Los Angeles must have a temple. There must be a place to worship the deity. These are the words Prabhupada was using to the devotees. After a week or so, then the devotees found a church, and which has got 3 large rooms. Then Prabhupada said, yes, this is a nice place, we can go and see that place. But the rent was very high. Then they were charging about $500 a month. Remember, this was in 1968. That is almost 55 years back. The rent was $500 a month for that 3-room accommodation, which is a church. But Prabhupada said, yes, let's go and get it. Even though because we have been waiting for long, we got the space, we must utilize this space. So all the devotees went and occupied the church. And Prabhupada was so happy that now we have got a place to stay. Immediately he started writing to Brahmananda, who was in New York, saying that, yes, now we have a nice place in Los Angeles. We got a place. We are going to start worshipping the deities. Then again, he wrote a letter to Krishnadasa in Germany, saying that, yes, we got a place in Los Angeles. We are worshipping deities, like that. Then he also written a letter to Jadurani in Boston. And he written to Jadurani saying that Jadurani is a painter. So he said, we have big rooms, so big walls. So we want big paintings so that we can decorate these rooms with the big paintings. Like that, he has given instruction to Jadurani also. And in one of these days, a devotee said he has arranged a press meeting, and they prepared a feast for about 100 devotees. And then he called the reporters in the evening. And out of the reporters, only one reporter turned up. And the reporter said, the reason for this not a successful press conference is you call for the meeting after the work hours in the evening, like that. Then Prabhupada said, very encouraging word, he said, in Krishna consciousness, there is never any failure. If people come to the program, we preach. If they don't, we take prasad. So this was an encouraging words from Srila Prabhupada. When we conduct programs, if we don't get people as we expect, then we should not much worry. It's one thing which we can take, because as we know that we are going to open the new temple in the month of July, and we are already started planning how do we conduct many programs inside the temple centric programs. And we started the Sunday evening program. Many programs going to happen, and naturally immediately the response could be very less possibility. But here the words of Prabhupada, in KC, there is never any failure. If people come to program, we preach. If they don't come, we take prasad. And another thing is, there's such a small place of that garage where Prabhupada was staying for the meeting with all the devotees to conduct the lecture hall and prayers. That itself, what Prabhupada said, never mind, we have no place, no temple. Krishna provided his garage, so we accept it. Now let's see our temple. You have got huge palace, I would say, such a big temple led by Narahari Prabhu and all other devotees, congregation devotees from all the spiritual masters. So we have a wonderful place, and all of us can meditate upon how we can leverage the situation, how we can spread the Krishna conscious movement in and around Kumaraswamy layout, so that this Kumaraswamy layout can become one of the nice place where we can say Hare Krishna city, Hare Krishna small town kind of a thing, because we have got a palace. And another reporter from Los Angeles Times came. He wanted to talk to Prabhupada, and he said, Prabhupada, whether man could land in moon. Prabhupada said, it is a very remote chance. It is not possible. And you need to have a particular body to go to moon. Whatever space suits you have, this is not sufficient. And Prabhupada said, if at all they land on the moon, and they are all, already there are people of that particular moon, they are living for more than 10,000 years. They are very highly intelligent people, and they are going to oppose if anybody intruder is coming to the moon. And the reporter asked, okay, is it possible for the space shuttle people who went there, can they see the people who are in the moon? He says, no, it is not possible because it is almost invisible. They cannot see them. Prabhupada mentioned that. Then in the temple, the church temple, it has got a garden area and all. Then Prabhupada said, I want to plant rose gardens here. He's instructed that let us plant 108 rose bushes around the temple. That's why the chapter title is 108 rose bushes. Jayananda Prabhu has taken the lead and plant all the rose plants around the temple. And since it is already a big place to worship, the altar also was made ready. Now Prabhupada said, now we have to start full-scale deity worship. Because this is something first which Prabhupada is introducing in a big temple in Los Angeles. Something is new in ISKCON. And he says, we are going to introduce daily arati, we'll prepare bhoga, we'll offer to Krishna, we'll take prasadam. All those things we are going to start. There's something new First time you are starting in ISKCON, that too in place, Los Angeles. And these things are going on, but Prabhupada knows his one of the important mission is to write Srimad Bhagavatam, because he wanted to use his time for that. Then he said, hereafter, I will come to temple only 3 times a week on Sunday. Other than that, I am going to spend time in writing the books. He said, relieve me from the managerial activity, you please manage the show. And in that situation, only his personal servant and Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj were allowed to meet Prabhupada on a daily basis. Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to come and give the daily report about the Sankirtan, because all these people, the devotees, about 30-40 devotees, they go out in Los Angeles downtown daily and they do Kirtan for about 8 hours. Such a full-time job they were doing, and Prabhupada was very happy about that. One evening also Prabhupada went to see how this Kirtan is going on. And there are many passers-by, somebody were mocking at them, somebody were astonishing, somebody were inspired, and Prabhupada was watching silently in a car and how these are happening. And Prabhupada's remarks, you know what? He said, this is all happening because of my Guru Maharaj, His divine grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj, because of his mercy, because of his blessing, all this happening. Again, here you can see the point which I am highlighting is, he has not taken any credit for himself. Though he is a man behind this, and he says, all this Kirtan is happening, all the devotees are going out in Los Angeles, there's something new which is happening in ISKCON, and the credit goes to my spiritual master. And he said he wants to write 2 books. One book is Krishna, other book is Nectar of Devotion. And he said he was not sure 18,000 slokas of Srimad Bhagavatam. Suppose he wants to first complete all the 9 cantos and then go for Krishna book. He was not sure whether he will have time to write that book. So he said the Krishna's book is more important because all Krishna's pastimes are available in the 10th canto. And he said, our Vyasadeva is a compiler of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srila Sukadeva Goswami is the first original narrator of Srimad Bhagavatam. Both of them said hearing and reading Krishna Katha is most important. So Prabhupada said, let me start Krishna book and then try to complete it. In Krishna book, there are total 90 chapters. He said 40 chapters belong about the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, 50 chapters about the pastimes of Krishna in Dwaraka. And he said he wanted one picture for every pastime. So he said, I want a good painter. And so that I like to complete this book as early as possible. And he used to challenge the devotees. Let me see how much you paint and how much I write, how many pages I write, how many paintings you do. He expects at least 2 to 3 paintings in a week. So he used to challenge the devotees so that he inspired them to paint it more. He also sat and then started writing the books. And his day, you know what time it starts? It starts at night, early morning, 1 a.m. 1 a.m. he get up and he start writing Krishna book. And then in the afternoon, he said he will start writing Nectar of Devotion. The reason for writing Nectar of Devotion, he says, this is the law book for our Krishna consciousness members. Here you will know anything, everything about the devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. So he thought these 2 books are primarily important to write immediately. And he says to understand Krishna Katha, because they can become free from material bondage. Pastimes of Krishna is so powerful. Simply by reading, hearing, and remembering them, a devotee would be transferred to the spiritual world. And he also said he was using typewriter, he was using dictaphone, and he said in anything, any device which can be utilized in Krishna's service, we should make use of it. And Srila Prabhupada's book writing was going on well. A lot of manuscripts was written by hand. It's all available, but there's not much publication happened. Prabhupada was unhappy and he was looking for how we can get it printed. Because Krishna, he was saying Krishna is empowering Srila Prabhupada 2 books simultaneously. And in the beginning, the Macmillan publications, what they did, they abridged 50% of original Gita, and they made 1,500 hardbound copies and 30,000 paperback Gitas. Though it is something content was reduced, Prabhupada was happy because this is the first time the Krishna consciousness Gita book has started publishing. Then he said, let me order another 500 copies. I will send it to New York. I'll send it to San Francisco. Everywhere, I'll send it to Boston. So in every place, people should start distributing these books. Like that, Prabhupada was going on with the publication of books. But at the same time, he was not very happy because not many other, whatever the books which he started writing, the Krishna book and the NOD, he said, not my manuscripts are piling up, not many are ready to come forward for publishing. And another point he said, if you simply cram Bhagavad Gita, you will become a good preacher. Remember, he said, all of us wanted to become a preacher. He said, if you will simply cram Bhagavad Gita, you will become a good preacher. And one more point he emphasized, we should not simply publish books for reading by outsiders. Our students must be well versed in all of our books. We can be prepared to defeat all opposing parties in the matter of self-realization. So here again, Prabhupada is mentioning that we must read Srila Prabhupada's books. And in that regard, he also said, he was talking about Bhakti Shastri, he's talking about Bhakti Vaibhav, he started about Bhakti Vedanta. He said, all my students should read all these books and get Bhakti Vedanta degree. He was emphasizing so that everybody is not very qualified to speak and to defeat any arguments in the matter of self-realization. So there's another point which each one of us can note. I mean, at least myself, I want to note on this point that we must continue beyond Bhakti Shastri to reach up to Bhakti Vedanta title. That's why he said, if you cram Gita, you will surely become a very good preacher. And he wrote to Brahmananda in New York saying that my life is dedicated to publish Bhagavatam, but I am disappointed. In spite of I'm having hundreds of assistants, I am staying in a wealthy country, but I am unable to do so. Whereas he said in India, when I was there, I was single-handedly could publish the first canto, 3 volumes he has published alone. But here I'm unable to do so. So he expresses disappointment with Brahmananda in New York. He says, I'm very much anxious for getting my books published. The manuscripts presently I have may be converted to 8 different books of same size, each about 400 pages. But I don't know how I will get this published. See, here I just want to make a pass. See, Prabhupada's, many times in our preaching activities, we also get anxiety and sometimes disappointed how we may go forward and all. And here also Prabhupada says, we can say, I'm very much anxious to get these books published. The manuscript presently I have may be converted to 8 books, each of 400 pages, but I don't know how I'll get this published. And he says there is a possibility. There are 3 sources, he said. First is Macmillan, USA. Let us approach them. If they print, I'm happy, nothing to worry. In case they don't do, then let us go to Japan. The Dai Nippon printers in Japan, they can do. Only problem with them is they delay the process of publishing. If that is also not possible, he said we should have our own press. But this is Prabhupada's idea to have our own press for ISKCON. But there is a shortage of 2 important factors. One is we don't have a skilled manpower, then we don't have money. So without these 2, how we will do? But Prabhupada's desire is to have our own publication. That's how this BBT has happened. And he said, for publishing whatever written, I need minimum $50,000 immediately. That is a requirement Prabhupada has mentioned to Brahmananda and other leaders. And he's also mentioned one more point, which is very nice. Selling or not selling, I want these books to be published. Generally, what we think is once books have come, immediately we need to go for selling and all. But Prabhupada is very clear. Selling or not selling, I want these books to be published. And because of, again, he has to start writing. He has restricted his visit to the temple in Los Angeles. Instead of 3 times plus Sunday, he restricted only to Sunday. He said, I'll come only on Sunday. Rest of the time, I'm going to focus only in writing. That is my mission. Devotees invite people to weekly program. Tamal Krishna Maharaj would consult Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada suggested some plays to perform also, some dramas. Also, he said, in Sundays, we can have these things also. And Sunday evening, everyone will be waiting for Prabhupada to come. And because of this, all the devotees going out and doing the Sankirtana daily about 8 hours and distributing back to God magazines, many more newcomers have started coming to temple. And the strength has come to almost 200 on a Sunday feast. And Prabhupada will come and then he will give a lecture. And one occasion, Prabhupada entered this temple and he started dancing around the room. And in the room, there were paintings were there. So he used to stand in front of each painting and stand in front of the painting. Like that, he was dancing. So all the devotees were so much happy and they started dancing. But 2 ladies were sitting in a bench. And Prabhupada, when he come across them, he said, stand up, dance, stand up, dance. Then they also started dancing. So that the whole atmosphere was totally spiritual and everybody was happy. And after that, he gave a lecture and he distributed prasadam. When he distributed prasadam, Prabhupada said, first we must feed the children, then we can take all. So while taking prasadam also, Prabhupada used to say, you take more, you take more, you take more, he will say, insist on them. Like that he was saying. And the neighbors who were all coming, they took prasadam, they got the magazine, they got a new experience and they were happy. And because of that, newcomers started coming to the temple. And before leaving, what Prabhupada used to put, he used to put his hand on the head of the disciples. And it will be a competition between the disciples, who will go and stand in the line and who will get first, who will get second and all. Sometimes he will keep his hand on the head of all the devotees who are there. Sometimes he'll keep his hand on 1 or 2 devotees and then he'll walk towards his path. So there's always a competition among the devotees to get the blessings from Prabhupada directly through his hand touching on their head. And once Prabhupada leave, then immediately they used to discuss, hey, did you observe Prabhupada? What did he say to you? And you know that, did you observe that Prabhupada has done this thing? Like that, they were so much, excitement among the devotees, what Prabhupada has talked, what Prabhupada has done. Did you observe? Did I observe? Please share with me. Like that, there was so much of, enthusiasm among the devotees on the day of Sunday festival. After the festival, they used to discuss among themselves. And Prabhupada was mentioning that LA was leading ISKCON in new Sankirtana practice. The most important function of ISKCON is Sankirtan movement. And he was saying that, yes, this must go on. LA is leading in this and all other centers should follow. Like in San Francisco and New York, in Boston, he said people go to park and do the Sankirtan. In LA, people go to downtown and do the Sankirtan. And this must go on. And as all of us know, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was Prabhupada's man and for organizing the devotees. So Srila Prabhupada used to train him in managing the affairs. Sometimes some letter used to come to Prabhupada and he used to ask Tamal Krishna Maharaj, how are you going to respond to this? And when Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to say the reply from as a response from him, Prabhupada used to help him to correct the message and say, yes, this way you have to reply and all. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj was completely trained by Srila Prabhupada. And in Los Angeles, Prabhupada was having a personal secretary, that is Govinda Dasi. She is the wife of Gaura Sundara. And Gaura Sundara was staying in Los Angeles only, but Prabhupada wanted him to go to Hawaii and open a center. Gaura Sundara was reluctant to go to Hawaii, but Prabhupada insisted, please go and open a center. His wife was serving as a secretary to Srila Prabhupada, and he went to Hawaii. And then she continued his service for about a year. After a year, Prabhupada said to Govinda Dasi, now you have to go and join your husband. But Govinda Dasi was reluctant because she was so happy to serve Srila Prabhupada she doesn't want to discontinue the service. But Prabhupada said, no, you must go. You will be happy with your husband. Otherwise, you will never be happy when both of you are away from each other. After certain weeks, she reluctantly agreed and go and joined her husband in Hawaii. That time, Upendra is Prabhupada's servant. He was serving Srila Prabhupada. Now, Govinda Dasi has left. That means his personal secretary has left. That there is a shortage of person. Prabhupada accepted that because he said what is most important is opening the new centers. He was saying Prabhupada was inconvenienced by loss of his trained secretary, but he wanted new centers. Regarding personal service as secretary, as servant, it was not a very important function. See, Prabhupada's mood, though there are inconvenience for him, his mission is to open a center. So he was inconvenienced by the loss of his trained secretary. Again, getting a person, again training him is going to take time. But still, he says, important is to open a new centers. And this is very, very nice. All of us, most of us are will be happy to hear this. To go somewhere in the world and preach Krishna consciousness required a divine spirit. Whoever had this opportunity should take it as the greatest blessing from Krishna. I repeat this. To go somewhere in the world and preach Krishna consciousness required a divine spirit. Whoever had this opportunity should take it as the greatest blessing from Krishna. Now again, we can relate this to our ICC. Our ICC is already functioning. Now new temple is coming up and the opportunities are plenty. And Narayana Prabhu has already said in come of the Sunday Feast Festival that about the opportunities and where everybody has to come together and make this center as what His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is saying is the gateway to Goloka Vrindavan. ISKCON Cultural Center as the gateway to Goloka Vrindavan. That is the statement given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So we all of us got a lot of responsibility. And for that, how do we do that? Is it a burden? Now let us remember Prabhupada's words. To go somewhere in the world and preach Krishna consciousness require a divine spirit. So in our case, at least we all of us, most of us are here in our own houses and the center is very close by. Whoever had this opportunity, like all of us, should take it as the greatest blessings from Krishna. So what more we want? And one day what happened? Upendra, the Prabhupada's personal servant, he received a letter from a government prison authority saying that you are going to be arrested, you have to come to jail. The reason was in his previous, before joining ISKCON, he was convicted in a drug case. So the letter has come, he should come to prison. He was upset. He went and approached Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I have to go to jail. Prabhupada said, yes. Are you going now? He said, yes, Prabhupada. Then he was in tears and he said, Prabhupada, can you please chant one round with me? And Prabhupada said, you should know I am always chanting with you. And Upendra began to cry. Then Prabhupada came to him and patted his back and ruffled his hair and said, don't worry, you are a pious person. You go to jail and jail authorities will relieve you in a short duration. And he walked out and went to the jail. And within 10 days, he came out of the jail and resumed his service as a personal servant of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was talking to Upendra, saying that about the preaching activities in Australia. Because Prabhupada got a letter from New York saying that we need to open a center in Australia. So Prabhupada was saying, Upendra, why don't you go to Australia and open a center in Australia? But Upendra said, no, Prabhupada, I am cooking for you. I want to be here with you. Prabhupada said, anybody can cook for me, but you are good. You are doing good preaching in Seattle. So we should go to Australia. And Upendra immediately left for Australia. See how the dynamics are changing. He was serving the Prabhupada. He went to the jail, came back, happy to serve Prabhupada, but Prabhupada ordered to go to Australia. And without anything, though the initial resistance was there, he accepted Prabhupada's order, opened a center in Australia. So Prabhupada has depleted his personal staff in Los Angeles. He used Los Angeles as a stage for introducing new and important aspects of Krishna consciousness. Downtown chanting party, full-scale deity worship in the temple. He said, Srila Jiva Goswami has mentioned, chanting Hare Krishna in itself is sufficient to go back to Godhead. But people in this age of Kali are restless. They should also worship deity in the temple for their own purification. I repeat this. Srila Jiva Goswami has mentioned, chanting Hare Krishna in itself is sufficient to go back to Godhead. But people in this age of Kali are restless. They should also worship deity in the temple for their own purification. And in this regard, I can say that there are many people, many Matajis are coming, like the deity department has got multivarious activities. One is the garden seva. Daily I see in temple, lot of Matajis coming and doing service. And then the ornaments for the deities, there is a team of people, they are also doing the service. And under Gauchanda Gomnath Prabhu, there is a stitching service. And there is a team of people who are doing that service. And under Bhavani Kanga Mataji, yesterday there was a how to make a turban. There was a team of people who got trained for many weeks. They were also doing the service. See how blessed all these Matajis are. What Jiva Goswami says, people in this age of Kali are restless. They should also worship deity in the temple for purification. So worshipping means you have to engage in various services, like sewing dresses for deity, cleaning deity's altar, decorating altar, cooking for deity. So Rajbhog cooking is done by Matajis. So various services are available. Many Matajis are engaged in various types of activities towards the deity worship. And that is going to help each person individually for their own purification. And Prabhupada's first, next, he said full-scale deity worship. He personally stood and explained how to do the worship. He prepared the Arati plate with all the items which are required for the Arati. And he said, he demonstrated to each person, especially there was one Mataji by name, Shilavati Mataji. He was so inclined to have the deity worship as his personal taste. Then Prabhupada instructed her how to do the worship. And every step he was explaining to them. Then they started worshipping the full-scale deity worship in Los Angeles. This was the first time Prabhupada introduced full-scale deity worship in Los Angeles. And Shilavati Mataji said, Jayananda Prabhu had planted 108 rose bushes. And after a few weeks, the rose started blooming. So they were very happy to pluck the rose and offer to deity and given to Srila Prabhupada. And this Sunday feast, because of more and more people are coming, and people are so enthusiastic in serving the deities and enthusiastic in serving Srila Prabhupada, the Sunday feast itself has become a festival. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to distribute 100 BTG magazines daily. And there is another Maharaj by name Vishnu Janaswami Maharaj. He was very good in Kirtan, playing Mridanga, playing harmonium and all. And he's a very good singer. And Prabhupada used to say, yes, you are a Gandharva. You sing so nicely. You attract so many people. And Vishnu Janaswami Maharaj also used to have this puppet show. He used to conduct puppet show on a Sunday. And he also have a drama kits on Sunday. So these are the new things which was introduced as attracting newcomers to the temple. So that is the reason the Sunday feast is not just a feast, it has become a Sunday festival. And one of the main reasons for this is Srila Prabhupada's presence. Because Srila Prabhupada stayed in Los Angeles for 4 months. And though he used to visit only once a week, that is Sunday is the only day Prabhupada used to come and be with the devotees. But all the devotees knew that Prabhupada is staying just across the street. And so they were enthusiastically engaging in all the 6 days, either going to the Sankirtana party daily and spending about 8 hours or 10 hours. And some team is going out and distributing BTG magazines. Some devotees staying in the temple, doing the full-scale deity worship. And some devotees engaged in decorating the temple and another devotee is going out to get the people for the newcomers for the temple. So everybody is enthusiastically working, competing with each other in a good sense, so that newcomers are coming and Prabhupada will be pleased. That is their only motto. In that time, Prabhupada he received a letter from another devotee from Guyana saying that, Prabhupada, please come, Guyana, we need you here. Because Prabhupada said, no, open a new center so that you have the divine spirit. And you can consider this is the greatest blessings from Krishna. So he started getting letters from London, Hawaii, and Guyana. Because in Guyana, one devotee has, I forgot the name, one devotee has asked Prabhupada to come here. We are ready for you to come. And Hawaii, already the devotee has gone earlier. And he is also inviting Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, first I want to go to London, because London is an important place. I want to open a center. But unfortunately, at that moment, the devotees led by Shyam Sundara Prabhu, they were not having any center for London. And they didn't have even for them a common place to stay together. They didn't have an apartment or something for Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, okay, let me delay this process, but let me start going out other countries. So he wrote a letter to Krishna Das in Germany saying that I want to come to Germany, but let me know what is the climate there. So that I'm an old man and I cannot withstand this climate, and I cannot eat like young people like you. So I need to know the exact the temperature availability so that I can make a visit to Germany. And like that, Prabhupada was planning to go abroad, Hawaii, Germany, and Guyana, and London, all these places. Like that, Prabhupada was continue to travel. He was not staying more than a long time in a particular place. Los Angeles is an exception, because that time Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, you stay till December end. Then you start moving around. Then Prabhupada accepted his invitation to continue to stay for another 1 more month. And from January onwards, Prabhupada started moving around the world. And I end this session with this. Thank you. Any comments, any reflections? Somebody wanted to share any pastimes of Srila Prabhupada? I welcome this to hear that. Thank you once again.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing the nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamritha. One point that is Prabhupada, which he has emphasized is about reading his books. It's not only for distribution outside, but also we should be reading for our own as a sadhana. I think that's a very important point, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Devotees may unmute the lines and share their comments or reflections.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Excellent. Prabhu, you said if you can simply cram Bhagavad Gita, then you will surely become a very good preacher.
Yeah, this is Prabhupada's statement.
Yes. I mean, I didn't understand. Can you explain?
I mean, cram means probably you have to study completely and then get the things. Cram, normally cram is used to to memorize the thing, right? Even if you memorize and then repeat the words of Prabhupada, because these words are Prabhupada's words, right? We are not going to write our own words.
Yes.
So if you remember the shloka, if you remember the translation, if you remember the purport and just repeat it, you will become a good preacher. Because the words are from Prabhupada. We are going to speak on behalf of Prabhupada, and his own words, we are going to spread it outside. So that way you will become a good preacher.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, can I add one point? I think there is
Yes,
one
Prabhu.
small pastime. Mataji, there is one pastime with Prabhupada disciple. I couldn't recollect the name, so that's why I wouldn't share the name. But one of the disciples, he was asked to give class. So that devotee, he doesn't have any experience. He has not studied the books properly, so he was so worried. But because he was asked to give the class, what he did was he actually recorded the Prabhupada's lecture. So he connected the microphone to the small Walkman type of one, and he put it in his head. So he put the shawl and he kept the microphone inside kept the Walkman inside the shawl, and he started giving class. What he did was he just played Prabhupada's lecture, and then as he hears, he repeated what Prabhupada said. So it was so amazing, and I heard later that devotee has shared that, and he was one of the persons who was editing Prabhupada books as well later. So what Prabhupada said, the specific line, just cramp it. This is also, we can call it as cramping. He just repeated what Prabhupada said, and he has become a great disciple of Prabhupada later.
Where can we read about these pastimes, Prabhu?
What, Mataji?
All these pastimes, where can we read about it?
Lilamritha.
This doesn't come in Lilamritha, Prabhu. I've not heard it.
Yeah,
This specific thing, maybe somebody might have shared somewhere, Mataji.
Okay.
Because not everything, some of the things could be possible from, because Prabhupada, so there are so many varieties, in lectures is there, letters are there, our morning walk is there, our in room conversation is there. So we may not be able to find out exactly from where this pastime is there, but one of the option, the major content is available in Lilamritha.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
So I take two, three things again, because I got inspired by this particular chapter. As Prabhu was mentioned, Sankarshan Prabhu, one is this, the books are not for outsiders only, we must read, and all of us should become Bhakti Vedanta title. So we are about 19 people, and I don't know, some more people will be there. And all of us, if we become Bhakti Vedanta, that is a kind of, offerings to Srila Prabhupada. That's number one. It's a very big task, but I'm just putting the task like this, number one. Number two, about the preaching, he said the greatest blessing from Krishna is if we can spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And we have a very good opportunity because our temple is just coming up in the new temple and plenty of opportunity for all of us. That is one thing. Second thing is full-fledged deity services. As I said, many Matajis are coming. They're doing many great services. So we can increase more number of Matajis, and probably if Prabhujis also wherever they can fit in. And that way we have plenty of opportunity to do the deity worship. Because as per Srila Jiva Goswami, he said, deity worship is important because that is for our own purification. And Sankirtan, which we are doing little bit on a Saturday morning from our temple we are doing, but as we grow, as we get more and more people, if you're able to make it as one more feather of our temple, like the Sankirtan, at least within that half a kilometer radius, ISRO layout and Komasam layout, every day or every 2 days in a week, you are able to go and do the Sankirtan movement. It's a challenging. I'm not saying it is only wish, I'm saying. Then that is also because Prabhupada said this is one of the important function of ISKCON is doing Sankirtan movement. In those days, 1968, 8 hours, 10 hours daily, they were doing Sankirtan. So here, at least if you do about half an hour or 1 hour, it's only, again, I'm saying, it's only my wish, probably we will be able to do this. Yeah, I'm just thought of sharing again these points. It's open to you all.
Yeah, and Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, is my voice audible?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful session with respect to Srila Prabhupada and how we were connecting to ICC. So I just wanted to add, in fact, apart from all that you have said, which is so true, there's also this aspect of the Sunday morning feast where I think now the congregation devotees are all helping in so wonderfully, and then they are cooking. So there's more opportunity there too. And then extending our Sunday program to the evening, where we are having more focused sessions for preaching or taking the message to the devotees in general. So that's another wonderful thing. So I was just thinking, like, ICC is such a wonderful place that we have where whatever we are hearing, wherever we are getting inspired, we can actually practice that here. I mean, we may not be successful, that's another thing, but then at least it gives us a chance to practice. So thank you for that, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Here I can just remember the Prabhupada's quote from Prabhu when they were calling for the press reporters, and there is only one reporter came, and what Prabhupada's statement in Krishna consciousness, there was never a failure. If people come, we preach. If they don't, we take prasad.
Yeah, very nice, Prabhu. Thank you.
There is never a failure. That's the point which I like to emphasize here.
There are some comments in the chat window. I will just read it out, Prabhuji. The message from Prem Priya Mataji is that Hare Krishna Prabhu, wonderful narration of Srila Prabhupada Lilamritha with many instructions by Prabhupada to meditate on. Thank you, Prabhu. That was one comment. And Saraswati Mataji has mentioned Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thanks for the nectarian narration. Then Gaur. And then Gaur Chandra Gopinath Prabhu also mentioned. Thank you for the wonderful class, inspiring. I think Prem Priya Mataji has mentioned that past time I mentioned it was Brahmananda Prabhu. I'm not sure. So I think there are no comments, Prabhuji. Maybe we can end today's session with Vaishnava Pranam.
Yes, Prabhu.
Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindhobhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class.
Thank you. Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you again, Prabhuji, for sharing the nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamritha.
Yes.
Hare Krishna devotees, I think you would have seen the message from tomorrow, Thursday, until Sunday. We will have a special session on Krishna Namamrita. There is a visiting devotee from Chaupati temple. His Grace Sudama Prabhu, he will be sharing the nectar on Sri Krishna Namamrita. So I would request all the devotees to attend in large numbers and share it with your friends and relatives. So this class will be in the temple. So we'll be doing live streaming the class from the temple. The class will start at 8:10, not at 8 o'clock, but at 8:10. Thank you, devotees. We will end today's session. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thy Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. So I'll end the Zoom session now. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Hare Krishna.